Hello and welcome back to the Google Workspace Update podcast from Strawberry 7. My name is Adam.
And my name is Adam.
We're here every week to bring you the latest updates about everything happening in the world of Google Workspace. This podcast is available from your regular podcast provider and also in video format on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Strawberry7.
Coming up on the show today,
we have 9 updates for you. Again, we had 9 updates last week as well. We have updates to Google Forms, Docs, Meet, another one to Meet, Sheets and Gmail in one update, Meet, another one to Meet, Calendar and Chat. So quite a lot of meat. So not good for veggies this week. So as always, there is a link in the podcast or video description to the document that we read from. This contains more detailed information, some relevant links, lovely pictures, and even some moving graphics showing you these features in action. So let's get to it.
On with the show. Right, so we've got 2 little updatelets for everybody this week, and the first one is to do with Google Forms. So, adding flexibility to email collection in Google Forms. Previously, when creating or modifying a Google form and editing the responses section, form creators only had the option to toggle the collect email addresses option on or off. If enabled, this meant when users filled out a form, their email was automatically collected from their form submission. To add flexibility, Google has introduced the ability to choose between some email collection options, and they are verified email collection, which was previously known as automatic email collection, responder input, previously known as manual email collection, or do not collect. The verified collection option will now require a user to click a checkbox to confirm which email address is being collected upon submission.
This is a fantastic update. This has been a long time needed on Google Forms and something that's been a real bugbear of mine when I've been sort of working with forms, because the only way that you've really been able to collect email addresses other than people being signed in, as it says with the collect email addresses feature, was to just put a sort of short text box in and say and label it email address. So this is a fantastic advancement, and I really like the fact that now the verified email is either them being signed into their Google account or verifying it via a checkbox. That's really, really nice.
I really like that you verify which email address that you would submit if you're filling in a form, because maybe you've just signed into Google with a couple of different accounts. You've just clicked on a Google form and maybe you weren't too sure which Google account you were using when you're filling in the form. So you shouldn't accidentally provide the wrong email address.
Yeah, I think it's really really nice. So I think this has been a long time needed. Very, very nice update. Well done, Google, on this one. What have we got next, Adam?
Up next, we have another little updatelet, this time to Google Docs. So, gain consensus from collaborators quickly with voting chips in Google Docs. You can now add smart chips that contain emojis to use as voting indicators in Google Docs. This feature helps teams express themselves while they're collaborating in Docs by allowing you to rank or compare ideas. This update is going to be available to Google Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Plus customers, and non-profits only.
Okay. I mean, we've kind of talked about these types of updates before, haven't we? And we've sort of said they're quite nice. I think there's probably other things that Google could be working on that would be a little bit more useful, a bit more relevant. I think they're kind of cool. For anybody a bit confused about what this is, because from the description, I think the visual graphic shows this off beautifully. All it's basically saying is that on the smart chip the voting smart chip, which is where you can put smart chip in and people can click to sort of upvote things. Previously, that was just a chip with a number. Now you can put a little emoji graphic to the side of it. So the example that I've got here is they're saying off-site fun activity, and they've got bowling, karaoke, volleyball, and a few others. And so what they've done is on the vote for bowling, for example, they've got a little bowling ball next to it. And on the vote for karaoke, they've got a little microphone next to it. So that's basically what this update is. I think it's quite nice. It's a nice little visual thing, I suppose.
I think it's a little bit like the emoji reaction to a message within Google Chat or any other platform, but instead of as a reply or as a reaction to a message, you can just have the emojis there, which people can then click on to show their voting. I've seen this quite a lot across other platforms such as Discord or something like that. To basically, it's a quick indicator to somebody says, yes, I like this, or this is the option that I choose.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the voting chip was great. Adding an emoji bit to it, okay, cool. I mean, somebody in Google is working on that, I guess. So, it's cool that they've done it.
Yeah.
Like
they clearly chose the example in our document because there happens to be an emoji that matches every option perfectly. In reality, whenever you would possibly use this, there's probably not going to be an emoji that matches whatever it is you'd be voting for. So then you'd probably just have like a +1 or a tick or something a bit more generic that you could use instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got next, please?
So, up next, we have our first our first of many Google Meet updates this week. So, quickly access more features during meetings is now available for Google Meet on the web. Google is introducing a new quick action to access popular features in Google Meet. By hovering the mouse on top of your own video feed, you can access video effects such as immersive backgrounds or fun filters to bring more fun to your meetings, and a reframing option to improve your visibility. You can also turn off the video feed from other participants using the quick action on their video. This can be helpful in situations where you want to focus your meeting view to just the presenter, or hide participants with distracting video feeds, or if you just don't want to look at somebody that day.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look at someone's face. That's a really, really nice feature, this. I think everything they've included here is very, very nice. Again, the moving graphic shows this really nicely. Basically, in the moving graphic, the example is they're hovering over the video feed. A little sort of symbol pops up, and there's 3 dots there. You can click on that, and then you can access some of these various quick actions. So it's a very nice advance, this. Really, really nice change to the interface. And I really like the fact that you can turn video feeds off for other participants as well, because like it says there, when you want to just highlight the presenter, it's really useful to be able to turn the other video feeds off so that you're only noticing the presenter.
I just noticed we have this option available right now, so I literally have the option to, I won't remove you from the call, that would be a little bit mean, but I could just select don't watch on your video right now. That is an option available to us right now, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see those as well. And the reframe is a very, very nice option as well.
Yes,
bring it back
I actually have reframe set on my camera right now, just so it kind of hides a bit more stuff going on in the background, so to try and help you centered a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Adam. What's the getting started with this? I think we've kind of covered it mostly, but just for clarity.
Okay, so there's no admin control for this feature, but for the end users, this feature is available to all users. You can also visit Google's Help Center to learn more about changing the audio and video settings, changing your background or applying visual effects, and pinning or muting meeting participants. Links to all of that is within our document.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And what's the rollout pace and availability here, please?
So, rapid release, full rollout started on June the 26th, so everybody should see this available right now if you're on rapid release. Scheduled release, there's a gradual rollout, so potentially up to 15 days for feature visibility, which is starting on July the 5th. The quick action menu is available to all Google Workspace customers. However, the reframing feature is only available to Google Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Starter, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Plus, the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, and Workspace individual customers. Is also available to Google One subscribers with 2 terabytes or more storage space.
Okay, some quite specific sort of tiers there, but that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got next? Thing is another Google Meet update, isn't it?
Surprise, yes, we do have another Google Meet update next. So you can now apply background blur when joining a call using a virtual desktop. If you're using a virtual desktop infrastructure to join a Google Meet meeting, you can now use background blur and light adjustment. Background blur will intelligently separate you from the background, blurring your surroundings while keeping you clear and in focus. Light adjustments automatically detects when you appear underexposed and enhances the brightness to improve your visibility. Note that these effects will only be applied once you join the call and they cannot be previewed in the green room. For admins, this optimization will cut down on the demand put into your virtual desktops, such as the CPU, the GPU, and memory usage, while helping to improve meeting quality and performance. For this reason, you may consider removing GPU resources from your virtual desktop for cost savings.
Okay, this is great. I mean, yeah, basically the heavy lifting is going to be done more at Google's end rather than on the virtual desktop end. So I think that's going to be really, really nice for anybody using those virtual desktop environments and systems. And I know that that is a key factor for people using those virtual environments is the CPU, GPU cost, because sometimes if that's kind of put out to a separate company. I think AWS do this and Snowflake and things like that. It's not something that we particularly get involved in, but from my understanding, they do that. And Snowflake particularly, again, from my understanding, is kind of per second billing of how much you're using and exactly what utilization you're using. So very nice to see this because that is potentially going to reduce some costs there. And you put in a very helpful link there, haven't you, Adam, for how people can remove those GPU resources to get the cost savings.
Yes, I have. So I was kind of thinking about this. Can you think of a situation where somebody would be using a virtual desktop to join a Google Meet meeting?
Oh yeah, I mean there's tons of situations. I think a lot in corporate people are using virtual desktop environments, you know, a lot.
Okay.
when they kind of VPN into their network and things like that. People will sometimes spool up virtual desktop environments to work on their computers. It's not how we work, it's not how our clients work, but within certain environments I think it's quite common to do that. There's huge advantages to using virtual desktop environments, you see, like number one, you can have that virtual desktop environment that's extremely powerful, but you can access it anywhere. So let's say you're, I don't know, a video production company, for example, and you're on holiday well, not on holiday, but you're on a business retreat, right, in the Maldives or something like that. You're doing very well. You can, rather than lugging some massive, great, big, powerful laptop along the journey with you that's got some huge CPU and GPU in it and things like that, you instead can take your very, very slimline computer, VPN in, spool up a virtual session on your massively powerful, you know, virtual environment. Or if you're using AWS or Snowflake or whatever, it's virtually unlimited, right? Because you're using huge power their end. And then you can run in that environment. So I think there's a lot of situations where you'd be potentially running in that virtual environment. And it's nice to see this tweak said. It's just reducing that workload a little bit. I think even the secondary school that we were helping at one point did have this similar environment where they had a virtual environment that people were remoting into. And it was a bit of an annoyance there where people were remoting in to a virtual environment and then trying to go on a Zoom call. But of course, it was using the microphone at the virtual meeting end, the virtual environment end, rather than their microphone. So
that's why I kind of asked, because maybe I'm just thinking from a totally different perspective, because obviously we are familiar with virtual desktops. Yes, I've just never thought to join a meeting whilst within a virtual desktop. I would always keep that very separate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's probably the fact that it's a bit easier if you're already in that virtual environment to sort of join that. So I think there are quite a few use cases. We don't do it ourselves, and our clients don't do it, but it's nice to see that Google have thought about those use cases. What's the getting started here, Adam?
Okay, so for the admins, you can visit Google's Help Center to learn more about allowing users to apply backgrounds and special effects, and also preparing your network for meetings. Links in the document. For end users, if it has been enabled by your admin, you'll be able to select background blur from the Meet green room or during the meeting, and turning on automatic video light adjustments. Again, links in our document for more information for all of those settings.
Thank you, Adam. And what's the rollout pace here and availability, please?
So, rapid release and scheduled release, their full rollout started on June the 26th, so this should be available right now to everybody. This is going to be available to Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, and individual customers as well. All those individual customers on their virtual desktops.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think probably the tier individual customers is a little bit misleading in this example, because it's probably referring to a tier, the tier of individual customers where it's more
not personal customers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it, Adam. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you, Adam. What have we got next, please?
Up next, Google Sheets and Gmail. So, Google Sheets is now integrated with Mail Merge in Gmail. So I think this is quite cool, actually. So last year, Google made it easier to send individual emails to many recipients with the launch of multisend in Gmail, and introduced the ability to personalize multisend emails with Mail Merge tags like at first name or at last name. Google is super excited to announce that Mail Merge will support Google Sheets in the web version of Gmail. This integration will allow you to link a sheet with up to 1,500 recipients and use any data column from your sheets as a Mail Merge tag. With Mail Merge, you can send more personalized and engaging emails to large audiences from Gmail. With this update, Mail Merge will fully replace multisend. Google is also moving the icon for Mail Merge from the main Compose toolbar at the bottom of your email drafts to the top right corner of your Compose window. You can still use Mail Merge without linking a sheet, using the built-in merge tags such as at first name, at last name, at full name, and at email. Like multisend, Mail Merge emails contain a unique unsubscribe link for each recipient by default. Recipients who unsubscribe from your emails are automatically excluded from future Mail Merge emails that you send. So I think it's really good that they do include that unsubscribe option, especially if somebody starts using this for spam or just advertising, and obviously to comply with GDPR regulations. Is really good that they do include that option to unsubscribe if anybody wishes to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Adam. Absolutely. And this is a lovely feature to see. I mean, again, we're just seeing Google Workspace bringing so much value to businesses, you know, for this subscription that you're paying, which, let's face it, is a subscription that's pretty much the same amount as a Zoom Premium subscription on its own, and Zoom does video calling. That's it. You're getting your email, your calendar, all of the Office applications, your Google Meet. But now, in addition to that, all of these other things that have traditionally been completely separate platforms. Like, for example, the appointment scheduling that we talked about on our podcast not all that long ago. That it was Calendly before. I've moved off of Calendly and gone to Google Appointment Scheduling. It's great. It saved the business that subscription cost per year. This is another thing where if you're using something like MailChimp or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, MailChimp does do a lot more than just send emails. I do realise that. So if you're utilising some of the other features, some of the CRM features and things like that, then, or the customer journey features, then great. But if you're just wanting to send out bulk emails sometimes, like we do when we do service announcements and things like that, why do you need a bulk email subscription service now? Because Gmail's now doing it. It's another thing that integrates into Workspace, like you said, Adam, to expand the workspace even more and create all of those encapsulate all of those different things that you need. So I think for anybody listening out there who, like us, is in the business of marketing Google Workspace, this is another thing that you can present to your customers as a saving that they can make or something that they can have integrated into Google. Again, they're not having to leave that Google environment. They don't have another login. They don't have another platform. It's all integrated within Google. So really, really like this update. Hopefully, we're going to see some even more advanced features coming in future updates.
Absolutely. So I've only ever really used Mail Merge features before within a Microsoft Office environment. So it's really good to see that this is coming to Workspace. And again, as we've kind of highlighted before, where maybe some users are I want to say stuck within Microsoft Office, or they're a bit apprehensive between migrating from Office to Workspace. It's just another reason if users were using mail merge within Outlook, for example, before, and they didn't want to use Gmail or just move across to Google, because that was one feature that they did use quite a lot. I imagine lots of offices do use mail merge features quite a lot. It's now available in Google, so yeah, I think it's great.
And it would have been hideous in Microsoft as well. We all know the horrible interfaces that Microsoft create for these types of things, mail merge being one of them, whether it's mail merge in a document, mail merge in Outlook. It's absolutely horrible and completely unintuitive and very unuser friendly. This is beautiful. You know, you just say at first name, at last name. It works more like something that is a 21st century app like MailChimp or something like that. So very, very nice to see this. How do people get started with this, Adam?
Okay, so there is a bit of getting started. So stick with me, everybody. So for the admins, for Google Workspace Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, and Education Plus customers, mail merge is restricted to internal recipients by default. Not only restricted, but by default. For Google Workspace Business Standard and Business Plus customers, mail merge is available for external recipients by default. For all Google Workspace editions, you can turn mail merge on for external recipients or at the OU or group level. You can also visit Google's Help Center to learn more about managing Gmail settings for your users and customizing access policies for different organizational units or groups. So for the end users, for those that are actually going to want to use this feature, to link a sheet to a draft in Gmail, turn on Mail Merge using the icon in the top right corner of a Compose tab. Click Add from a spreadsheet and select which sheet you want to use for recipient data. The sheet must contain at least one column of email addresses and one column with recipient names. Your recipient data must be in the first tab of the sheet. It doesn't need to be in the first column, but it does need to be within the first tab of your sheet. Users are limited to 1,500 mail merge recipients or messages per day, and you cannot use CC or BCC when recipients are added from a sheet. Next, you will see a Finish Linking Spreadsheet dialog. Choose the columns that contain recipient email addresses and names. To insert merge tags to your draft, type @ in your draft to show a list of available merge tags. So it's a bit like using chips in other areas of Workspace. Every valid column in your first tab of your sheet should be available as a merge tag. Insert the desired merge tag by pressing Enter or by clicking on the tag. Merge tags cannot be used in the subject line or in links. And you can also visit Google's Help Center to learn more about mail merge in Gmail. So as I kind of alluded, I've only ever really seen it within Outlook. And I know, obviously, Adam, you expressed an opinion about that. But I definitely would say, I think using a mail merge might be a little bit scary, or it can seem really daunting if it's not a process that you're familiar with at all. And after you've done it once or twice, you do kind of realise it's not actually that hideous to do, but it is definitely worth going through the process. Come and have a look at our document, have a look at the links, check it out, give it a go, and you'll find it's not actually that much of an ordeal to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Adam, and that's what I mean. Doing it through Google is going to be such a nicer experience than doing it through Microsoft, because it's going to be so much easier. And if there is anybody out there, like Adam says, who's a bit apprehensive about doing mail merge for the first time, just start off slow. Make a spreadsheet with, say, 4 people in that are your colleagues or email addresses that you have or something like that. Start off slow, use that spreadsheet, send out some tests to them, and then you know you're not sending out to a live list. You can see exactly what it looks like and get a bit confident with using it. So it's a very good point that you point out there, Adam.
Because one of the things that I really do not like about doing the mail merge within Outlook, after you've done it, or whilst you're creating your mail merge, after you've selected your recipients, it just sends. There's no, it's just say, this is the email, this is what it's going to look like, are you sure you want to send this? Like, nope, it just sends. So so I hope you got it right first time.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I mean about Microsoft's sort of way of doing things. It's just so bizarre as we always know. I think this is really, really nice update, and I really think that people could potentially make a lot of savings by not using those third-party mass emailing platforms and programs. And like you said earlier, Adam, really nice to see that they've ticked those GDPR compliance boxes and things like that by the unsubscribe links. Thank you, Adam. What's the rollout pace and availability for this?
So, rapid release, there is a gradual rollout, so up to 15 days for feature visibility, which started on June the 27th. Scheduled release, there's an extended rollout, so potentially longer than 15 days, which is starting on July the 19th. This update is going to be available to Google Workspace Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus customers, and also non-profits.
Okay, that's lovely. I mean, for any schools out there who are really at the sort of cutting edge, you could potentially, ditch your parent communication platforms and use something like this, but it is going to require admins who are very flexible and very versed in sort of Google to be able to do that, and of course using Google as your email platform as well. So there is the potential out there for anybody listening who either is an admin at school, or anybody who's listening who deals with admins in the school, might be worth sort of broaching the subject with them. So that's very, very good. Thank you very much, Adam. What's the next update that we've got, please?
Okay, back to more Meet. So, simplified access controls are coming to Google Meet beginning on July 17th, 2023. So, Google is introducing simplified controls for meeting access in Google Meet. These will replace the existing quick access meeting settings, and the admin setting to turn quick access on or off by default will be removed. This update will begin rolling out on July 17th. So it was going to be about 2 weeks time when this update will start rolling out. From a Google Calendar invite or Google Meet itself, meeting organizers will now be able to pick from 3 levels of access. They are open, where anybody with a meeting link will be able to join your meeting. No one will have to ask to join, and anybody can dial in. Trusted, where anyone within the meeting host's organization will be able to join without having to ask to join. Everyone outside the organization but invited via a Google Calendar event, or anyone invited from within the meeting, will also be able to join without having to ask to join. Anyone can dial in. Everybody else will have to ask to join. And thirdly, there's restricted, where only someone who is invited via a Google Calendar event or someone invited from within the meeting by a host will be able to join. Everyone else will have to ask, including participants inside a host's organization who aren't included on the invite and those dialing in. Additionally, meeting hosts can configure whether guests can join the meeting before hosts. To help ensure your meetings run as smoothly as possible, Google made the decision to replace the quick access settings with a more intuitive and explicit set of controls for meeting organizers and hosts. So within our document, I've added a couple of tables that I think will be really helpful for everyone to see, so you can just see some differences, or it's essentially to see some of the new settings, or see the new behavior, see the new defaults of what's going to be happening in different situations. It's going to be a bit complicated to go through, so I'd encourage everyone to come and have a look at our document and to have a look at these new settings.
Yeah, lovely. This is really, really nice advancement on this feature before. We saw it a while ago where they put these quick access controls in, and I remember thinking at the time, I thought they're pretty good, but they were a little bit limited and a little bit inflexible. So it's really nice to see some of these advancements, and very nice to see that they've still retained the fact that you can just have it open to anybody, because I think that's one of the nicest things about Google Meet in comparison to, say, Zoom, is the fact that not only do you not need the software, but you don't need an account. You can just join in without even a Google account and just join into a Google Meet meeting, which I think still so many people are not aware of. They're not aware of the fact that they can create a Google Meet and send it to anybody. They don't need a Google account. They don't need to be logged into anything to join that meeting. So it's nice to see that that's still open. And I really like the table that you've included here, Adam, which shows, a bit more detail about the different levels of this and how the setting will affect what people are going to experience in the meeting.
Yes, as I mentioned, I would highly encourage everybody to come and have a look at this table, because I think it will just clarify things a little bit better than if we explained everything. I think if I just went through everything setting by setting, I think everyone would probably get lost. I probably wouldn't make too much sense. So I would encourage everybody to come and have a look at these tables just to clarify what the new settings are.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what's the getting started on this, please, Adam?
Okay, so for the admins, as part of this update, Google will be removing the quick access setting in the admin console. You can also follow a community forum post to stay on top of the latest news regarding this update, and I've added a link to that within the document. For the end users, you can follow the community forum post to stay on top of the latest news. Google also recommends familiarizing yourself with the chart that I added within this document. So Google is completely behind us, apparently, and as that explains more about the new default access settings, so you can adjust your settings as needed.
Lovely, thank you. And what's the rollout pace and availability here, Adam?
So, rapid release and scheduled release. There is a gradual rollout which is starting on July the 17th. This update is going to be available to all Google Workspace customers and available to users with a personal Google account. I think that's the first one this week that's available right across the board.
Yeah, very nice to see. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got next?
Up next, Google Meet.
Oh my God!
What do you know?
Surprise!
So you can now use polls or Q&As during Google Meet live streams. So if you're live streaming a video meeting hosts can now enable a Q&A and poll features which previously were only offered in traditional Meet meetings. Expanding these features to live streamed meetings will help take your meetings to the next level with more feature-rich collaborative experience. Q&A in Meet offers an easy way to better engage audiences and help them get their questions answered, both at work and in school. Educators can use Q&A as a structured way for students to ask questions on class content and get answers from teachers. Businesses can use Q&A to help make meetings more inclusive, giving everyone the opportunity to ask questions. Participants can submit and upvote their favourite questions without disrupting the flow on the call. Polls are a great way to quickly gauge the pulse of your audience. You can use polls to identify topics that need more discussion or test understanding of the meeting content. This means business users can easily get real-time feedback from their colleagues. Teachers can quiz remote students to ensure they're absorbing the material, and sales teams can make their sales presentations and prospective customers more engaging and interactive.
Yeah, this is lovely. This is a really, really nice update. Fantastic updates from Google this week. Very, very nice to see this. You know, the Q&As and the polls and things. Again, we don't use them personally, but really, really good feature anyway. And seeing those go across the live streams is fantastic. Again, we're seeing now Google going into the territory that have really been the exclusive domain of some of these third-party providers, like these specific webinar platforms and streaming platforms, and now you can just do it all within Google Meet or all within Google Workspace. Lovely update, really, really like this, and I think this will be extremely beneficial to some of those larger organisations or educators listening who want to sort of have those Q&As and those polls when they're doing live streams as opposed to doing Google Meets and not having to go into a Google Meet just to use those features. So I think that's really, really nice.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't think I've ever actually joined a Google Meet live stream. Obviously, we use Google Meet all the time, practically every other day. But I don't think I've ever actually joined a live stream of Google Meet. I do recall some of our schools were definitely using it, not all that long ago, and so it definitely was popular. So it is great to see that these features that were just within the traditional Google Meet meeting have now come across to a live stream as well. So if anyone is still using live streams or just chooses to do a live stream for, I'm sure there's many reasons why people would use a live stream, then it's great that they have these options. And I think that using the polls and the Q&A, I think that is a great feature that does help keep everybody a bit more engaged, even if they're not directly within conversation of the meeting. Maybe you have a massive audience and people are just, so it's still just a good way to keep everybody interacting, basically.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you have been on a Google Meet live stream before when we've done things like the partner updates and things with Google directly. So Google do that.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Big fat lie for me. I have been on a Google live stream.
But this is the thing. Even when we've done those with Google hosting them, they've had to do things like link us to a document to do the Q&As and not really been able to do the polls very easily and things like that. So, yeah, and just for clarity as well, the reason that you would use, say, a live stream rather than a Google Meet is because imagine if you're wanting to, like with Google, you're wanting to broadcast to 150, 200 partners. It's very difficult to manage that in a meeting.
You could use your new mail merge feature to say, look, I'm going to be doing a live stream to demonstrate this new product, or there's going to be a presentation all about something that's coming up in the feature. Use your mail merge to send out your live stream link, and then see who joins in.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can imagine that in a meeting, if you were in a Google Meet, it would be quite difficult to manage because everybody would join and you'd have to say, mute your microphones. And if one person doesn't, it's difficult to find out who that is. So that's where a live stream is brilliant, because a live stream is very much one way. It's just you broadcasting out and there's minimal interaction back. But it's nice to see that there is relevant now interaction back with these polls and these Q&As. So very, very nice update again. Thank you very much, Adam. What's the rollout pace and availability here?
Okay, so rapid release and scheduled release, there is an extended rollout, so potentially longer than 15 days, which started on June the 28th. This update is going to be available to Google Workspace Enterprise Essentials Plus, Enterprise Starter, Enterprise Plus, Enterprise Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade customers.
Lovely. Thank you, Adam. I did look that up, by the way, and Enterprise Essentials Plus is actually a level of Google Workspace.
When I first saw that, it's like, are they missing a comma?
Yeah.
Is that actually two different things? But then I saw no, because they already mentioned like Enterprise and other things. So
yeah. Enterprise Essentials Plus is actually a level. So yeah, I did look that up. Not something again that we've dealt with, but it is a level on Google Workspace. Thank you very much, Adam. What have we got next?
So now all the meat is out of the way for this week. So now we're on to Google Calendar. So making focus time more productive with new Google Calendar settings. So in 2021, Google introduced the option to reflect time set aside for focus in Google Calendar with the focus time entry type. When coupled with the Do Not Disturb setting within Google Chat, users are able to protect their time from heads down individual work without distraction. To increase concentration and bridge the gap between Do Not Disturb and focus time, you can now mute notifications for the duration of your focus time directly within Calendar.
Okay, very, very nice. Yeah, so you can actually kind of block out when you're working on a particular project in Google Calendar, let your colleagues know. We've actually found that feature the day after the podcast came out. One of the features we talked about before that they advanced in Google Chat, it would tell other people when you were in a meeting. That actually happened straight afterwards, because Robert messaged me and said something like, oh, Adam, I saw you were in a meeting, so I didn't call you, so I've messaged you on here, or something like that. So it's a very, very nice feature, and very nice to see this in Google Calendar, that you can block out and let your colleagues know that you're in, Do Not Disturb mode, basically.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how I feel about this. It is good, yes. It's definitely not a bad update by any means. And I think maybe, say if you're on a Chromebook or something, then I think this would be absolutely perfect. But I'm kind of thinking, for me, essentially, how would this affect me? So presumably, if you have this setting applied, it would only block your Google notifications. But if you're trying to concentrate on something, there could still be many other notifications coming through, like your email provider or text messages or anything else still becoming, notifications could be popping up on your devices. So for me, if I want to concentrate and have Do Not Disturb turned on, obviously we're within Apple's ecosystem, I can just turn Do Not Disturb on either my phone or my Mac or any of my devices. it also will automatically turn on all of my devices all at once, and then it will mute notifications for everything on all platforms. So this one, I think it's good, but obviously it would be restricted to Google.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Probably one of the main things this is for is notifying other people. It's kind of notifying your colleagues, so that if your colleagues looked at your calendar or something like that, they would sort of see that you were in Do Not Disturb mode. And I presume because you're able to mute chat notifications, it's kind of going to link into chat as well. So if somebody opened chat, they would see Adam Wignall is in Do Not Disturb for the next hour or something like that, and maybe then won't message you or will email you instead maybe, or something like that. So I think that's kind of the arena that it's going to be mainly used in. But you're quite right, it won't cover everything, and if you're on a Mac, you can very easily turn Do Not Disturb mode on. You can maybe do that on Windows. I'm not too sure with Windows 11. It's probably incredibly complicated. 17 button click and doesn't actually do what you think it's going to do anyway. But yeah, you can very, very easily sort of turn that on. So yeah, very nice to see this. And I think this is a very, very nice feature.
I think either way, this update is to try and help people stay focused, and I think it will definitely achieve that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. What's the getting started on here, please, Adam, and the rollout pace?
Okay, so for admins, there's no admin control for this feature, but for their end users, to mute chat notifications when adding a focus time calendar entry, check the Do Not Disturb box. You can also visit Google's Help Center if you would like to learn more about using focus time within Google Calendar, and of course I've added a link within our document to that. So rollout pace, rapid release, there is a gradual rollout which started on June the 28th. Scheduled release, there is a gradual rollout which is starting on July the 12th, and this update is going to be available to Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Business Standard, Business Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus, and non-profit.
Thank you very much for all of that information, Adam. What is our last update this week, please?
So, up next, we have a Google Chat update. So, you can now see read receipts from messages in Google Chat Group Direct Messages. So, following the recent update in Google Chat that add context without breaking the flow of conversation and enable you to declutter your chat conversation, Google is introducing read receipts in Group Direct Messages. With this feature, you can now quickly identify if other members of a group have read your latest message within a chat stream. Knowing which of your colleagues have read your message can help set expectations for a response. Whether you're waiting for a colleague to read your message or want to ensure high visibility of a topic in a group direct message, Google hopes this highly requested feature helps you communicate more effectively in chat. Read receipts will only be shown in chats of 20 people or less and will not be shown in spaces. So we've kind of mentioned before there's group chats and spaces. So this is not to do with spaces. This is essentially a group chat.
Yeah, that's a good clarification there to make for people listening. And I think this is great. You know, this is really nice. It's bringing it in line with things like WhatsApp, you know, and those other chat platforms. So very, very nice to see this. The interface is lovely as well. Google have just mirrored what some of the other platforms have done, which is really nice to see, where it's kind of the little profile picture of the person appears when they've read it. So very, very nice update. I think this will be really, really handy for people.
Absolutely. Again, there's only just one kind of thing that I thought about this. So you can see, it'll be very clear to see who has or has not seen the very last message that was sent from within your group chat. However, if, say, one person has not read that message, are you able to see the last message that they did read? So, for example, maybe they were completely up to date and read the entire chat apart from the very last message, or maybe they just hadn't opened that group chat for a couple of days or all day or whatever, and so then there's still 10 messages behind. I'm just wondering how clear it would be for somebody that's not read the very last message to see which message they did last read.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, I don't know if any chat platform has that level of detail.
With WhatsApp, you can do that. It's not. So I think if you slide left, or if you slide a message, it will show everybody that has or has not read an individual message.
Oh, right. Actually, on that part of the message, on that... Oh, right.
Yes.
That's pretty clever, isn't it? Okay. So it does have that granular control. Okay. I'm guessing with the interface that Google have gone with here in comparison to WhatsApp, I'm guessing you're not going to be able to get quite to that level of detail. But it's a very, very good point that you bring up, Adam. And yeah, maybe when we start seeing this, we'll be able to sort of see...
Stay tuned for what may be coming next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whether we'll have a look at it. Lovely. Thank you, Adam. What's the getting started here?
So for admins, there's no admin control for this feature, but for the end users, there's no end user settings either for this feature, and it cannot be toggled on or off. So this is enforced for absolutely everybody. But you can always visit Google's Help Center to learn more about sending a message in Google Chat. And of course, there's a link in our document for that.
Okay, useful for people to know that this is on and you can't turn it off then. Thank you. And what's the rollout pace and availability here, please, Adam?
So rapid release and scheduled release, there is a gradual rollout, so potentially up to 15 days for feature visibility, which is started on June 29th, and this update is going to be available to all Google Workspace customers and users with a personal Google account. So another update that's available right across the board, and it's enforced, so nobody has a choice. So you will have this update.
You absolutely will have this update, and you'll love it. That's good to know. Well, thank you for all of that information, Adam, as always. And that's it, everybody. That's everything that you need to know about all of the updates happening in the world of Google Workspace this week. Remember that this podcast is available in audio format from your regular podcast provider and also in video format on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. Thank you so much for joining us this week.
And we'll be back again next week with more updates.
Goodbye.
Bye!